Hi, it's James from Sincera with some of sales and marketing's best practices today for business to business. Practices that shouldn't be a secret. This is pretty deep, so we'll cover the high points to get context, like skipping a stone over water. If you want more details and specifics, reach out and I'd be happy to sit down and discuss it with you. Let's start off with what's the purpose of a business, any business? There is only one answer. It's to solve problems. And yes, you want to do it profitably. It's important that we identify the purpose of a business because it gives us the underpinnings of what businesses and their people are trying to do every day. Solve problems for both their internal and end customers. It's really just that simple. Selling, what is it? It's been around since the beginning of humanity. At its core, it's nurturing people to do something that they're not really inclined to do. It's convincing Adam to take a bite of an apple. Throughout our time, selling, or the art of effective communication, has evolved. It's become more strategic, calculating, and adept at understanding human behavior. In fact, we can break down the evolution from selling products to solutions, and more relevant today, providing insights and mobilizing actions. We've essentially moved from physical product pitches to effective coaches and enablers. It's more and more science. CEB and Associates really do study the numbers. They scour sales and purchasing statistics to identify all players, buyers and sellers alike. What they don't do is modify or manipulate data to support predetermined conclusions or outcomes. And since 2008, they've identified some significant changes in sales, customers, and marketing. And for the purpose of this insight, Sincera will be sharing some of the findings. A lot has happened since the dawn of the internet. Our access to information has provided us with great opportunities to learn. Just think about this. Google what life was like and how you had to get information pre-internet. Think about a common business-to-consumer purchase, a car. When was the last time anyone walked into a dealership and sat down with a sales rep and said, "Tell me about the cars you have to offer this year"? It's laughable. Nobody does that anymore. Why? Because you don't have to. Instead, what you do is learn on your own. You're in the driver's seat. So when we think about business-to-business purchases today, two significant things are taking shape. Customers are learning on their own, and there's a huge shift to consensus decision making. In fact, the more complex or disruptive the solution is, the more consensus is required. As learning organizations, people go through the process of first identifying what problems should be solved, how they should solve them, and then what vendor or who can help us solve them. Incidentally, agreeing on a course of action or how the problem should be solved is the biggest challenge for buying groups. Research has identified that organizations are 57% through the purchase decision timeline before they contract suppliers. So, any wonder why your RFP side of the business funnel has shifted throughout the years? You're not helping to write and position tenders, you're just responding to them, which means less margin because you're back at that commodity game. Your biggest competitor today is your informed customer. So let's get into the next moving dial, consensus. New data released in the latter half of 2016 indicates that the average number of people involved in a complex purchase has gone from 5.4 people now to 6.8. Let's call it 7. The most important thing CEOs want, regardless of how good a solution, is buy-in from the team. So here's the landscape we face today. Bear in mind one key thing. The more people, the more difficult. The more people, the greater the dysfunction. It could be a potential field of landmines to navigate. Failure to reach consensus often leads to smaller decisions or no decision, that status quo term, where your efforts end up in the proverbial sales graveyard. And just who are those 7 people in the company that I need to know And how do we profile them? CEB has done the work for you. Here's who they are and what their attributes are. I'm sure you're going to recognize some of them. The go-getter, skeptic, teacher, guide, friend, the climber, and of course the blocker. Mobilizers are the customer stakeholders best equipped to build consensus with the buying group. They ask tough questions and prioritize the interests of their company with the right commercial insights and seller prompting. Identifying and equipping these customers is a crucial step to the road to consensus. And never let titles fool you. 38% are blockers, 36% mobilizers, and 26% talkers. Again, we're skipping across the pond here, but you can really go deep and spend days on this. Here's the roadmap on identifying mobilizers. The key takeaways: use the talkers for information. Be courteous and respectful, but know full well they are passengers only. Those mobilizers, those are the ones you can have thought-provoking conversations with. The what-if scenarios. They're also doers. They'll pick up the ball and also request that you pick it up, moving consensus forward. Remember, everyone, and I mean everyone, has 3 motive points or mental models. Again, we're skipping stones here, so basically it's my company, my work, and myself. Those business values and personal values. Your job is to probe, identify, and map out what those are. The big job for star reps when dealing with mobilizers is to arm them to teach and build consensus. Key data on attributes of customer loyalty. Over half of customer loyalty is a result not of what you sell, but how you sell. So despite companies getting their own information to solve problems, the importance of the rep to provide information is absolutely critical. Similar to customer profiles, CEB interviewed more than 6,000 sales reps across nearly 100 companies in multiple business-to-business environments. They identified hundreds of attributes and developed rep profiles. So anyone who has managed the sales team knows these people only full well. Further slicing and dicing the data finds the general makeup of a sales team. No surprise that the highest makeup of core performers are those relationship builders. Hiring managers mistakenly believe that relationship builders, that person everyone likes, are the top performers, but the data proves the real top performers are those challengers. Challengers have a deep understanding of the customer's business and use that understanding to push the customer's thinking and teach them something new about how their company can compete more effectively. And it's not surprising. The more complex the sale is, the best results come from challengers. As owners and managers of businesses, we need to get the challenger profile incorporated in our business. A challenger is really defined by the ability to do 3 things: teach, tailor, and take control. As the challenger is focused on pushing the customer out of their comfort zone, the relationship builder is focused on being accepted into it. While the challenger is focused on customer value, the relationship builder is more concerned with customer convenience. The world of solution selling is almost definitionally about a disruptive sale. The pain of the same is greater than the pain of change. That's the real battle. The best reps win that battle not by discovering what customers already know they need, but by teaching them a new way of thinking altogether. They teach customers new perspectives, specifically tailored to their most pressing business needs, in a compelling and assertive enough manner to ensure that the message not only resonates, but actually drives action, taking them from A to B. What data, information, or insight can you put in front of your customer that reframes the way they think about their business, how they operate, or even how they compete? The data shows that customers are looking to suppliers to challenge their thinking and teach them something they don't know. Logic alone is rarely enough to overcome the status quo. Rather than leading with open-ended questions about customer needs, you lead with hypothesis of customer needs, informed by your own experience and research. It's more about commercial insight you deliver as part of the sales interaction itself, as this egg diagram suggests. We'll start up in the top left with general information. General information is information about generally anything and everything. It's just that huge mass of information and content that's already out there that we all swim through every single day. And that's actually in many ways our number one competitor, because this thing, our customers, well, they're overwhelmed by it. It's not so much what they should take in, but what they should keep out. At this level, a marketer's biggest question is, how do I cut through the clutter? Now, if I want to be heard, the first filter I got to get through is I got to create content that is credible and it's relevant for my customers. If it's not relevant, it never makes it through that filter in the first place. It just gets ignored. In order to be relevant and credible, content needs to be backed by data, third-party sources, testimonials. As a marketer, you might think to yourself, I've got it made. I've got data, I've got research, I got credible information that's relevant to them. I have passed that filter. I got inside. You know what you really got? All you've got is there's accepted information. Period. Here, try this. 75% of CEOs are concerned about customer engagement in a tough economy. By the way, I just made that up. But it could be credible. Go ahead. Google 75% of CEOs believe that. You're going to get millions of hits because it turns out that 75% of CEOs believe in all sorts of stuff. And we put that in our content every single day. So I haven't really learned anything. I may have confirmed something that I already knew. So how do we get to being newsworthy? We've got to provide content that's newsworthy, that shows the world something new, that the world on its own probably didn't know. Now, here's where that gets us to thought leadership. That's actually what we aspire to be doing as marketers. It has been part of our stated strategy. We want to be thought leaders in our industry. So what is it really? Well, it's new information that's additive. New research, new data, often in the form of white papers or infographics. All marketers want to produce white papers. And we think, man, this thing rocks because it's good to teach the world something new. But what happens is we find customers read the white paper, they read the graphic, they learn a new way, and they say, wow, I've never thought about that way before. Then they go back to whatever it is they were doing before, which, by the way, is buying or not buying where the status quo is good enough. White papers don't change behavior. So the next filter we're going to get through is be frame breaking. This one matters more than anything else. Frame breaking is about two things. It's not just about what you could be doing. It is about what you are currently doing. Insight is just as much about how your current behavior, your current status quo, your current plan of action, and showing you why something about that particular plan, that strategy, is flawed. Again, with empathy and diplomatically, illustrating that somehow you were exposed to more risk, more cost than you ever realized before. So this is actually a contrast that matters. It's the juxtaposition between the cost of current behavior and the potential for alternate action. Again, moving from A to B. Selling today is about a journey with your customer. You don't focus on the attributes, you lead your customer to them. Let's go through it. The warmer. Building credibility by reading their minds, demonstrating empathy and understanding. The reframe. Connect those challenges to a bigger problem or opportunity they hadn't previously considered. Rational grounding. Show them that the numbers behind why they should think differently, making them squirm a little bit. Emotional impact. And I refer to this as bleeding. create an emotional connection between the pain in the story you're telling and the pain they feel every day in their organization. A new way. It's time to convince them of a solution. Show them the new way they should be thinking about their business, implicitly tied to your value proposition. Again, leading to our solution. It's an implementation map showing them the new way that they should be thinking about their business and how to get there. A great example is what Grainger has done by introducing to their customers planning for unplanned purchases. If you'd like some detail on it, I'd be happy to share. So, where is marketing in all this? Given the landscape of where prospective customers are today, marketing no longer works in a silo environment, working content to generate sales leads. No, it's no longer passing on the lead baton and waiting to see results. Today, the most successful firms work with sales developing commercial insights, getting in during the customer's research and discovery process, and answering the questions, what do our customers not know about their business, but should? What's the one thing that any organization in the world never wants to do? Change. Change is hard. It's disruptive, it's scary, it's risky, it's expensive. The last thing I ever want to do is change. What are you guys selling with your solutions? You're selling change. Do you ever stop to think about the number one thing that you're selling today is the number one thing your customers don't want to buy? It's true. That's where we are today. So if you want your customers to change, you've got to give them a reason to change, particularly provide customers compelling reasons to take action. So, where is your sales and marketing team today? Are you identifying and working with mobilizers as they investigate their problems? And what kind of talent is selling your solutions? Are they focused on relationships, or do they challenge and provoke new insights? If anything sparks your interest, drop me a line. Love to have a discussion. Thanks for your time, and remember, the pain of the same is greater than the pain of change.